Welcome everyone, this is Virginia Parsons, your Hangout mentor and the host of the Inspirational Business Women Show, where you already know it is my passion and my purpose to provide you, the viewer and entrepreneur, with a gold mine of entrepreneurial tips, strategies, and advice to help you grow your business from inspirational business women in the know. I'm thrilled that you've decided to join us today. I know this is a busy and hectic time of year, but it's also an important time of year to start thinking about what are you going to do next year to grow your business. And I have a fantastic guest who's going to help everyone here learn how they can map out their traffic and sales vortex for 2015 and beyond. I'm really looking forward to sharing her expertise with you. But before we get started, I'd like to tell you that this show is sponsored by Hangout-Marketing.com, where you can receive a free Hangout marketing assessment that's going to measure your skill sets and your knowledge base in using Hangouts on air to grow, brand, and market your business. So all you have to do to take advantage of that assessment is pick up your phone and text the word SUCCESS, SUCCESS, to 307-269-2040. Now that assessment's only going to take you a couple of minutes, and you might even qualify for a free strategy session with me where we'll sit down and talk about your business and how you can use Hangouts on air to brand, market, and grow your business to new heights of visibility, social influence, and success. So take advantage of that, won't you? Now I also want to take just a moment to say hi to everyone who's joining us today. I really appreciate your being here, and it's also my intention to create a whole collaboration of entrepreneurs, my brother and sister entrepreneurs, who can all help inspire, uplift, and motivate each other. So come on into the comments section, let us know where you're hanging out from, and let us know a little bit about your passion and what you want to do to grow your business in 2015. I really appreciate that, and I just want to say hi to everyone who is joining us today. So without further ado, I'd like to give you a little background on my guest, Gina Gaudio-Graves. Here she is. You'll see her in her full living color in just a moment, but I just want to let you know a little bit about her in case you aren't aware of what an amazing person and businesswoman she is. She is the director and the founder of Directions University. I should say the dean and founder of Directions University. And you know, she's a wonderful speaker, she's a coach, she's a true mentor. And think about her mission. This is such a powerful mission. It makes me think about expanding my own mission, and that is that she wants to help 1 million entrepreneurs to live their dreams. And one of the ways she does that is by helping people set up their own traffic and sales vortex. So we're going to talk about mapping that out today, finding out a little bit about what is a traffic vortex. We've all heard about sales funnels. Well, what's different about a traffic vortex? And then how do you put your price points into a vortex? And finally, once you've got this all set up, how do you get it spinning so that you can really have the profits you dream of in 2015 and beyond? So without further ado, say hi to our audience, Gina. Welcome to the show. I'm thrilled to have you here.
Thank you so much for inviting me, Virginia. I'm really looking forward to this.
Terrific. Well, I want to say hi. Oh gosh, we've got Roy on the line. Great to see you here, Roy. He's saying happy Monday, everyone, from California. Good to see you, Roy. Sherry Valentine. And I'll keep track of the comments and bring a few up as we go forward. So make sure you put those comments in the comment area of the event page. So Gina, I know you've got quite a story, and I think that that's a great place for people to start. You're the JV Queen, and I know this is all connected, how you got that name, and a little bit about your background in developing Directions University. So go ahead and take it away.
Well, growing up, Virginia, I didn't really know that I wanted to become a coach and mentor, or that I wanted this thing called Directions University. I knew my passion was teaching. And I didn't want to be a poor teacher and have to work second jobs as a garbage man like so many of my teachers did. So I did the research and learned that the highest paid teachers around happened to be law school professors. So that's what I started to do. I went to law school to become a lawyer so that I could teach law. Well, a few short years into that career, I got accepted to teach at my alma mater, Notre Dame, and just 3 weeks later, before I ever set foot on campus, I was involved in a very serious car accident that left me in a hospital bed and wheelchair for nearly 10 years. During those 10 years, I needed about $40,000 a month just to pay for my medication. Without it, I would have been gone in about 90 days. So I had to find a way to make a lot of money really quick with a really, really horrendous illness and very poor health, so very little energy to do that with. My first business was I thought I was going to be a day trader. But back then, this was in 1996, 1997, the internet was in its infancy. And there were these membership sites called chat rooms that I could have gone into to become a better day trader. But they were expensive, like $800 to $1,000 a month. And I needed every penny just to keep my medicines coming in. So I found a way to be able to get these things for free by teaching. And I almost overnight became an entrepreneur in the process. I started going into 5 different membership sites, 1 day a week, just teaching day trading. And the members started saying, you know, we want you more than 1 day a week. Could we have you 5 days a week? Could you do one of these membership sites? I didn't know what that meant, but I knew how to research. Maybe I could figure it out. And I did. And sure enough, within a couple of months, I had my first membership site. I had enough members there that I was really making about $50,000 a month just on the membership fees. And that worked well for a number of years. But my health started to decline, so much so that I couldn't continue in that business. So I sold that to a member and went on to what I thought was going to become an internet ad agency. Well, again, my customers started asking for something I hadn't really thought about. This time, it was what they were calling joint venture traffic. I was a lawyer. I knew what a joint venture was. I was an ad agency, or so I thought. I knew what traffic meant. I just didn't know what they meant together. Turned out what they were really asking me for was what's called a joint venture broker. These were people who had amazing world-class products and services. They wanted someone to hook them up with the people that had the lists and the traffic to sell them through. Well, that seemed easy enough. So I said, sure, I can do JV traffic. And I became one of the very first JV brokers in the internet marketing world. And I was really excited about this, Virginia. As a JV broker, I got paid a percentage of sales. So to make my $40,000 a month, I only needed to have $400,000 worth of sales for my clients' products. But I had world-class products on one hand and people with millions of subscribers on another. Why not put them together? That should easily sell $400,000 worth of stuff a month, wouldn't you think?
Yeah, it sounds like easy peasy, right? No. You're
Don't I
an expert
wish?
in this.
It was the weirdest thing. Sometimes I could put people together and it made way more than what I expected. Other times I could put them together and it wouldn't even make $10,000, much less $400,000. Well, there was no rhyme or reason to it. And, you know, I need this money or I'm going to die. So I don't have a lot of choices. I can't do things that aren't going to work. They must succeed every time or I'm going to be in big trouble. Well, it took about 2 years to uncover what today I call the amazing traffic vortex. It's this very holistic, organic way that successful businesses were built. And I was able to take that thing that I uncovered, the system that I uncovered, and build a process that can be applied in any business, whether it's just starting out or already underway, in a way that really does make the business easier with a greater impact and much bigger results. And once I had that vortex and the vortex model of doing business, pretty much all the JVs that I organized were successful. That worked well again for a number of years. But January 29th, 2005 was when I got the news that my health had changed yet again. This time, the doctors gave me just 12 to 18 months to live. I was only 40 years old at the time. I certainly wasn't prepared to hear that news. My husband and I went home that night and talked about it. Together, we decided that I wanted to see the country before it would be time to die. So we went out. He found an RV that he could retrofit with my hospital bed and my oxygen and my IV poles. And within a couple of weeks, we hit the road, thinking we'd have 8 to 10 months to see the country before it would be time to go home and die. Well, 6 months into that trip, we were in Sedona, Arizona, and it happened to be the week of my 41st birthday. As I had done every week, I was taking my blood at local hospitals, sending results back to my doctor 3 to 5 days a week. Well, that week something was different. 3 different hospitals, 3 different blood tests, all came back with results I didn't even know were possible. All 3 said, "This patient is clinically dead." You guys can see me here today. I don't exactly look dead, do I, Virginia?
No, I'd say you're thriving.
Exactly.
3 hospitals, that's pretty amazing.
3 different hospitals. That's how sick I was at that point. So needless to say, my husband and I seeing these results are going, yep, probably the last birthday I'm ever going to see. How was I ever wrong? Anyway, he wanted me to have the best last birthday that I could. So he decided to take me to a massage therapist in Sedona, just hoping to help me with the pain for that one day. So he wheels me into her office, gets me up on her table. She looks at me. I've never met her before, and she says, "You know, you don't have to die as soon as you think." And I'm thinking, yeah, right. How much is this one going to cost me? Thinking she was going to do what so many did, try and sell me something. But she didn't try to do that at all. During that one visit, she gave me the most important piece of advice I've ever received from anyone. She told me that if I could remove the negativity from my life, I didn't have to die as soon as I thought. Well, I explained that I was the most positive person she was ever going to meet. I didn't have any issues with negativity. She kind of shook her head and said, "Yeah, not going to be enough to save your life." Well, that made me a little confused. So I started asking some questions. And by the end of that one visit, she had pointed out things like the activities in my life, the people in my life, the actions, my thoughts, my words. They all needed to be positive. And I could already see how many things I had in my life that were negative. I started out in the day trading arena. I used to leave CNN play 24/7 even when I was sleeping. Not exactly very positive, right?
No way.
So I had to make some big changes, and I had to make them quickly. Couple that with the research that I did, and in the next 4.5 short months, I went from a wheelchair to a walker to a cane to walking with no assistance at all. I was able to stop 42 pills per day, 4 continuous IVs per day, and in the end of just 4.5 short months, I went from being at death's doorstep to being 100% well. And it's what I call my miraculous transformation. It's during that time that I started looking at everything differently. Life, business, you name it. And I realized that I'd made a lot of money for a lot of people, myself included. I had $9.9 million worth of medical bills, and I had paid off $6.1 million hard cash out of that. But yet I also realized that I hadn't done much of anything to make a difference. I had just been given the gift of life. A gift that big felt like it just had to be repaid. And that's where my mission comes from, Virginia. When I got well, I decided to stop brokering joint ventures and doing consulting and open the doors to Directions University, with the mission being to touch the life of every person on this planet. It's a mission I cannot accomplish on my own. But if I can work with entrepreneurs, teaching entrepreneurs how to meaningfully touch the life of their clients, then together with about 1 million entrepreneurs, we really can touch all 7.2 billion people on this planet. And so today, that's what I do.
That is the most, for me, heart-opening story of how you went from having that much debt and sickness and illness and all tied together around this concept of negativity, which you didn't even realize was so pervasive in your life, because you really did create some major success stories. But I think that that's one of the first takeaways that I'm going to just offer out there to all of you who are viewing today, both live and in the replay, is, you know, take a look at your life and your mindset, and if there's negativity any place in it, see what you can do to eliminate it and make some shifts for your own health and your own ability to be the full we all can give. So, Gina, this is a very, very powerful story, and I really thank you for sharing it. We could talk just about this the whole half an hour. But
We really could.
I thank you for sharing it. It's just brilliant, and many, many messages in it for all of us. I'd like to pause for just a moment and say hi to some of our wonderful entrepreneurs who are here. V-Lynn Hawkins, great to see you. Molly Youngblood Geiger, wonderful. Sheila Krieshman, Neil Brown. Debbie Horowitz, oh, let me pop this one up for you to see. Debbie says, I'm not kidding. I need this. One thing I always wish I could find at this time of year especially is next year's calendar and a social media planning calendar for 2015 that includes and informs and reminds me of all the various national days, what else does she say here, and the holidays that could inspire business promotions as effective social media engagement activities. Whoa! That's
awesome.
That is a mouthful. Thank you for sharing that, Debbie. We appreciate it, and we're happy that you're here. And Sherry Valentine, terrific. Let's go on to talk about this whole concept that you had developed around a traffic vortex for your business. Now, I've heard of funnels, sales funnels, profit funnels, and excuse me, those different kinds of ways of building a business. As a matter of fact, I've developed some myself. But when I learned about your special vortex model of doing business, I was so fascinated by it. And you're right, it does feel organic. So go ahead and tell people a little bit about it, and how would you define a traffic vortex business model?
So we do use funnels within our business in addition to the whole idea of a vortex. But it has to start with the vortex. First, let me define a funnel for everybody. Most businesses have a series of funnels. They're that series of things that you sell in a sequence. You have a lead generator that then leads to another product that then leads to another product. And you may have a couple of those, not just one of those, but several of them. But they're all disconnected. There's no way to tie them together. And in many online businesses, that's how business is done. But if we look at examples of successful offline businesses, let's look at Richard Branson, for example, with Virgin Mobile or the Virgin Group. He doesn't have a series of disjointed businesses. All of them revolve around a core center. And they're all tied together in the good that they do in the world. Well, that's how you want to think about your business. You may have a series of separate funnels, but something needs to unite them all. And that thing is the core, the center of your vortex. A vortex, in the way that I'm talking about it, is much like a tornado. It's that thing that's spinning, that has all dimensions to it, height, width. It's not flat. It's hard to describe in a way that can be depicted with anything other than a flat diagram. So I do have a flat diagram that I use to depict a traffic vortex. But don't imagine it in your mind that way. Imagine it more like a tornado. Think of it this way. If your business is this tornado, what happens in a tornado? The outer edges of the tornado are going so fast that anything anywhere near it is likely to get sucked into that tornado. And what's going to happen at that point? it's going to get sucked all the way into the center of the tornado, isn't it? You want that same thing to happen in your business. Your prospects are all outside your tornado right now. Your message is the outer edge of your tornado. That message needs to be done in a way that impacts them enough to suck them into the tornado. And once they get to the outer edges, they don't go straight into the center of the vortex, although it can happen. Usually they kind of go through and spin around for a bit before they end up in the center. Well, what they're doing as they're spinning is they're getting exposed to your line of products, no matter what those are. What gets them into the center is the impact your products are making on them, the services, the products, whatever it is that you sell. Make a deep enough impact, and they will willingly go into the center of the vortex. And they will not only stay there, when they talk about themselves, they won't help but be able to bring up your brand's name, your product's name, your name, in a way that brings all the people they know right to the edge of your tornado. Think about business in that way, and it changes everything. Most people build their business in the wrong order. They kind of dabble. They go out on social and they put some stuff up. Is this going to work? Do people like it? If they do, then they get around to setting up a website. They dabble a little more. People going to like this? If they do, oh, let me get a free report. They put up a free report. If that works, then they think about what they're going to do to make money. To build a vortex in your business, you've got to go 180 degrees the opposite direction. Figure out what's at the core of your vortex first. What is that one thing that A, makes you the greatest amount of money per customer per year? Ideally, it should make you at least $1,000 per customer per year. As equally important is, what is that thing that lines up with your purpose, your passion, that thing you were meant to do, that you are here to do, to be? And C, what is that thing that really serves the needs and the wants, both, of your customers? If you can find that thing that has A, B, and C lining up and make that the center of your vortex, figuring out everything else you do in your business gets a heck of a lot easier. So that's an overview.
That's a beautiful analogy. I love the idea of it being three-dimensional rather than we tend to see things two-dimensionally on paper. And that at the center of it all is the thing that you are most passionate about that's going to serve the people, and also it's going to be the one thing that you charge the most for. It's your highest end product that it is going to create at least $1,000 per customer per year. Is that correct?
That is.
Yeah, so that's very different than starting out with, let's see, what am I going to offer as my free ethical bribe? And then how am I going to bring them to, follow me maybe on social media, and then from there, let's see how maybe I can bring them into a low-end price point product. You're right, that seems like a lot more work.
It really does. And when you can get clear on what that thing is in the center of your vortex, it answers all those other questions for you. It's amazing how often it really does that. If you ask yourself, okay, this thing I've got now in the center, what are the topics that logically fall within it? So in my vortex, the center of our vortex at Directions University is the Directions University Bachelor's Program, a very comprehensive one-year-long coaching program. It's open by invitation only. Can't go to the DU website and go find out something about the bachelor's program. Doesn't work that way in our world. In that program, we teach the 5 core systems that every business needs. Those 5 core systems, what we would call 5 topics, are what I call the 5 pillars of the DU vortex. They are mindset, monetization, content marketing and relationship building, leverage, primarily that through joint ventures and strategic alliances, and traffic and lead generation, which encompasses a whole bunch of topics all in one. Those 5 core systems, or those 5 pillars, become the thing that every one of our messages are crafted around. Our products, we have products on each of those 5. We may actually have funnels for each of those 5 topics. No matter what the topic or what core system, what pillar someone happens to be attracted to, they all end in the same place, Virginia, right in the center of the vortex, where people get exposed to all of them at the same time. What will our viewers do to do that in their business?
Well, exactly. And the interesting thing about this model to me, and why I've been so fascinated about it, and why I wanted other people to know about it, is because you're still bringing people to the center of the funnel with a variety of price points. So can you give us a little bit of guidance on how a person might set the various price points within the vortex?
Absolutely. I think on the event page somewhere you have that diagram of the vortex, don't you?
I do, but it's gone now because we're live.
Gotcha. Okay.
But, well, it's there. We'll put it back up afterwards so
we'll
people
put a
can
link
see
out
it.
there so you guys can
Yeah.
see. So imagine a circle that has 5 rings. The rings dictate both where your message goes as well as what the price point happens to be. The outer ring of the vortex is all messages that are not on your site, that are somewhat outside of your control. So the stuff you put up on social, the messages that you might have on a web TV show, a radio show, on a stage, in a webinar, all of that goes in that outer ring of the vortex. Just inside of that are those messages that are on the front end of your website that people can see without paying for anything, without opting in. Just inside of that, in the third ring, in the diagram, it's a mint green ring, is that content that they see only after they've spent at least $1. In an ideal world, that content is a low-end membership site. Just inside of that, the fourth ring, or what I call the dark purple ring, are those products that are usually more standalone. It could be a membership site. It's usually that mid-range product in your funnel. And then in the center is that thing that makes you the greatest amount of money. To figure out your price points, you have to ask yourself first and foremost, what is the value in the hands of my customers? And you know, I don't care what niche you're in, there is a value to it. If you're in the personal growth niche, or any personal growth niche, I should say, ask yourself, okay, what is the problem that your audience has now? If it's stress, you can actually go out and do the research to figure out how much in dollars and cents stress is costing someone. There is actually research out there today that says people under stress spend $7,200 a year more on medical bills, and that they lose on average between 21 and 24 days of work per year. Well, it's easy to put a price tag on that, isn't it, Virginia?
Well, yeah, because just of the time lost and therefore the income lost, absolutely.
So when you know what that number looks like, and you know you have the solution that will allow them to overcome stress, well, in the center of your vortex, how much can you charge them for it? If you can paint the picture of what it's costing them, and then show them that what you've got is going to save them all this money every year, you could easily charge $10,000 or more for the thing in the center of your vortex. Done that way, that then helps dictate what you do in the mid-range, in that fourth ring, and what you do in the mint green ring outside of that. In all 3 of those rings, the mint green and the dark purple, and then in the center, especially in the outer 2, you want to set your price points low enough that it really allows people to come in to get a taste, to really give them an opportunity to know you, like you, and trust you with a fairly low barrier to entry, so that by the time they get into that fourth ring, hearing that number in the center of the vortex really doesn't shock them at all. Instead, they're so blown away by all that you've over-delivered at low price points That hearing that new program is going to help them that much more, makes them go, holy cow, if I got all of this for so little, I can only imagine how much more I'm going to get in this. Does that make sense?
Absolutely, and the idea that you're taking it from the standpoint of what it's going to cost them to not take advantage of what you're providing, and then over delivering, that looks to me like what is going to start the vortex spinning. Is that correct?
It is. As I said, it really is a tornado. It has both spinning power and sucking power. What makes the vortex spin is money. Think of money a little differently than you may have in the past. Money, when it comes to business, is an expression of gratitude on behalf of your customers. Let me say that one more time. Money is an expression of gratitude on behalf of your customers. It's a concept put out by a man by the name of Frederick Learman. And it's really brilliant to think about money in that way. If your customers are grateful for what you're sharing with them, what you're providing to them, what's going to happen? They're going to share their gratitude in the form of money. So it's important that in your business, you're not out there just selling a bunch of worthless stuff. You've really got to be serving at a level that makes people grateful, or they're not going to want to show gratitude at all, much less show it in the form of money. But it is the money that makes your vortex spin. You need not fewer than 3 topics or pillars, nor more than 7 topics or pillars. Fewer than 3, you never get enough spinning power and sucking power, enough of the money flowing to get the spinning to happen in your vortex. More than 7, and your customers become so confused that it actually causes the vortex to spin out of control, and in both cases it collapses. The key is the number of pillars in the vortex.
Well, these are powerful, what I would call pack your bag moments to take home. And so thinking about your main center of the vortex and then the pillars that you're going to develop around it, no fewer than 3, no more than 7. And you start with those by defining what are the major segments of your highest end offering, and break that out into these pillars. Am I getting that correctly?
You got it perfectly.
I have a question here from Sheila. She wants to know what pillar number 4 was, and I looked at it's leverage, right, Gina?
It is.
Yeah, we talk about leverage all the time. And, that's, again, my desires. I hope that this show is something that you can leverage into taking action, that you take just 1 or 2 of these very powerful tips from Gina and apply them to your business. If it's nothing more simple than define your high-end center of the vortex and break it out into the various pillars, you've got already the model starting to be developed.
You really do. And those pillars overlay all 5 rings of the vortex. So when you know what your pillars are going to be, they form the topics that you talk about on social. They're the topics you talk about in blog posts. They're the topics you cover in a membership site or in a series of products. In the mid-range area, the 4th ring, you have products on each and every one of those pillar topics. So they really become the heart and soul of everything you talk about from that point forward.
Well, it sounds so much more cohesive than any other business model I've ever seen, and that's why I'm following your business model. I'm very excited to be sharing it with people. Gina, how can people get a taste of this and understand a little bit more about the vortex model of doing business?
We have a program that's our mint green ring of our vortex. It's what we call Motivation to Profit. It is actually one of the most amazing programs I've ever been a part of, much less created. It contains a little over 40 lessons. They're delivered in a members area. They're all available at any time, so it's not like 1 lesson a week or anything. I don't think it's possible for people to do a good job on the lessons in more than 1 a week, but that's up to you. Throughout the lessons, you're going to get exposed to all 5 core systems, starting with mindset. Each lesson is about a 1-hour training. They're delivered in both audio and video format. Same message, just two different creatives depending upon which you prefer. Each lesson contains what I call action steps. They're your assignments to apply what you've learned in that training. By the time you've gone through all 5 segments, all 5 pillars or topics, you really can go from nothing more than an idea for a business to a rock-solid 4-figure per month income level, provided you really do those action steps. Along the way, questions are likely to come up. Well, every week we do a call that we call our hug seat. And it's really my favorite call of the week. It is for my partner, Jack Humphrey, as well. Jack and I get on the call every week with one person as the focal point of that call. That person is on what we call the hug seat. We look at who they are as a person, where they're at right now in their business, and then we look at where they want to be in the next 1 to 3 years and beyond. We ask them to paint the picture for their vision. We ask them things like questions about their purpose, questions about the legacy they want to leave. And then the rest of the call we spend crafting their vortex and their strategic plan for how to go from where they're at to where they want to be. It is one of the most powerful calls you can ever be a part of. Whether you're on the hug seat or listening to the hug seat, you walk away with concrete ideas you can implement in your business right then and there that week. And you know, Virginia, until now, this program has been so underpriced. It's kind of one of the best kept secrets on the internet, I think.
I agree.
It is a whopping $147 a year or $14.95 a month. January 1st, tuition and motivation to profit is going up to where it should have been, $9.97 a year or $97 a month. But you guys have a couple of weeks to still get in. And how can they do that, Virginia?
Well, I have posted it in the comments section. Let me bring it up here as well so that they can see it. So, well, where did it end up going? Just lost it. Okay, try it again. There. And listen, first of all, I want to let you know, if you haven't had a hug seat with Gina and Jack, you need one. Everyone needs a hug. I just love the way she even phrases it. You feel so safe and comfortable when you spend time with them discussing your business, and the information and the ideas that pour out of them are so valuable to you. So just by taking advantage of the hug seat, it is really worth it. I just can't recommend it enough. So if you didn't see that, I'll post it again in the comments section. The other thing I'm going to post for you is the opportunity to come inside and to ask Gina a few questions. She's been gracious enough to say she'll hang around for a little bit after the show, and we have gone over a little bit today, but I hope that you found it as valuable as I found her information. And she comes from the heart, and the thing that I love is her vision. She's made me want to increase my own vision much more than I had because of her great desire to help people around the world. And through all of us collaborating, which is what this show is all about, is collaboration of my sister and brother entrepreneurs, I think we can help Gina accomplish her mission and help so many people worldwide. So it thrills me to have taken this extra time, Gina, so that people really can get a good understanding of what you're providing. So I'm going to do two things now. I'm going to repost this, let me see, copy it again. If you want to take advantage of the Motivation to Profit program, you can do so. I'm just going to post it here in the comment section and share that. And then I'm going to provide for everybody the link to come inside and say hi to Gina. Just as soon as we stop the broadcast, you'll be able to come inside and join us and say hi to Gina, if nothing else. And if you have a question for her, you're going to be able to ask her inside. So just a moment, I'll put that out for you. There we go. Okay, so I've posted both of those for you. Gina, any last thoughts or comments you'd like to share with people?
My very favorite quote is action. Well, losers are still perfecting the plan. And that's my recommendation to all of you who have listened to this show today. You know, you don't have to take perfect action, but take action. Take one little piece that you learned today and do it. Try it. I know it's going to make a big difference for you when you do.
Well, thank you. You certainly have motivated me to take action. I so appreciate your wisdom, your friendship, and I'm just thrilled to have been able to share this with all of our viewers. I want to thank all of you for joining us today. Sorry we went over a little bit, but I hope you found it as valuable as I did. And please come on in and join us in the after show. We're looking forward to giving you a chance to say hi to Gina and ask her any questions. In the meantime, I want to wish you all a wonderful holiday. I will have one more show next week on Monday as well, where we're going to have a little festivity and fun with my guest, Elaine Nieverding. So I hope you can join us for that as well. Then I'll be taking a week off, and I'll see you in the new year. So once again, thank you for joining us, and have a great week. Bye now.